Hi everybody, this is Harmony with Harmony Stitches and welcome to my channel. Here we talk about my crafting journey, which usually revolves around cross stitch with some knitting and crochet thrown in. Thank you to everyone that takes their time out to watch my videos. I appreciate you spending some time with me, hanging out and seeing what I'm up to. I know that there's a lot of video makers out there and you could be spending your time elsewhere, but I do appreciate that you spend a little bit of time here with me too. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about what I've been doing this week. If you remember, I said last week that I was going to do a new start for my birthday, which was Sunday. And that new start was Liberty Games by Erica Michaels. And this is what it would look like when it's finished or roundabout. She did use a much lighter fabric than what I am using. I'm using Vintage Country Mocha, and I believe it's a Lugana. Like I said last week, I don't seem to have the card that Colette at Stitchin' Time wrote up for me. I don't know if I walked off without it or what, but the Vintage Country Mocha looks like this. It's kind of modeled and it's printed on one side and plain on the other. And this is my progress. So I did get done with the word independence. I'm almost done with the word union. And then I started on the red coat soldiers over here. I got their boots done and then started working on their coats. So not an awful lot of progress on this, but I did get started and then now it can go on the whip wheel. Let's see, so this is, I believe, 32 count Lugana from Zweigart, and it is very lovely to stitch on. So if you're an Aida stitcher and wanting to branch out into linen or even weave, I do believe that this, along with Monaco, would be a really great place to start. Monaco is quite a bit stiffer, and this is a lot not stiff. What's the opposite word of stiff? I can't think of the word. But it is very, very lovely to work on. I am using mostly the called for so far. I did swap out the raspberry for Lancaster red. I don't have all of the colors pulled yet. I figured I didn't need them all to get started, so I will get there when I get there. So then on Tuesday, the other project that on Monday, I started another new project, and that was B from Amy Bruecken Designs. This little kit that I picked up from my stitch shop. I decided to start this. I figured I would be able to stitch it pretty quickly, and it would be a project out of my stash and be a finished project pretty quick. I already had all of the floss for it, DMC 444. I have a cone of 310, so I grabbed some of that, and then DMC 445. So it's just 3 colors. There are 4 stitches of white for the eye, but I'm not going to worry about that until I get there. So I started this little guy on Monday and started from, okay, so let's see. It's on this finished piece of 18 count white Aida. And it's already got the seam sewn. It's sewn all the way around here. It's just folded in half up here and then sewn here with the opening so you can stuff it and then sew it closed. What a pain in the butt. I thought when I saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cute and it's already cut and sewn to size. All you have to do is stitch on it. Well, what about when you get way up here? I didn't think about that. Like, how do you start and stop, weave your end in? Like, that doesn't, and, you know, it doesn't seem, I'm going to make it. I think I might actually take out the seam and put it back in when I'm done because I don't know how I'm going to stitch up in the corner. But anywho, this is how far I've gotten. It tells you to start, this is what it says. Count count 5 threads in from the seam on the left to start stitching. But it doesn't tell you how many stitches to leave on the top on the seam, so that way you center it this way. So what I did is I counted across, like how many, you know how many stitches you need because it's shown on the chart. I counted across, then I counted down, and then I figured how far I wanted it from the seam. I didn't really want it that far from the seam, so I think I've got 1.5 stitches or so from the fold on the top. And then I like to start from the bottom right, so I wanted to know where to start. I didn't want to start up here, and I figured that's going to be the most difficult stitching anyway, and so I didn't want to start there. I wanted to start down here. And then so I put in the bottom row of 3 sections, I believe. So the yellow, black, and yellow, and I just got 3 different strands because I knew I was going to use it up anyways. And then what I did is I counted over the rest just to be sure, because I counted it both ways and I wanted to be sure. So then I counted over and then up all the way, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it. And I just barely made it, but I did. I would have ripped out the stitches and moved it down if I needed to. So, and it's going to come right over on the side. And let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors all the way complete. So yellow, black, dark yellow, light yellow, and this black. This next yellow section I ran out with like 3 stitches left. And I put that last strand in this morning. And I believe I'm about 1/3 of the way done. But I got distracted. So then I quit stitching. And I'll show you what I did next. On Wednesday, my family went out to dinner. And then when we got home, I thought, oh, I still have a little bit more time. I'm going to run up to the local shop that was participating in the middle of the mitten yarn crawl, because I needed one more shop in order to get my giveaway entry in. So I went to Victorian Purses by Sue, and she was giving away, this little bag has a stitch marker, and let me see if I can take it out. Has her business card and then a little stitch marker. A little stitch marker in there. And then she was giving away these little, I don't know if coin purses or little notions bags. And she had her logo and contact information printed on the bag. So those were the freebies that were given away there. And when I was there, I picked up a ball of cotton to make dishcloths. And I lost the ball band somewhere. Oh, no, here it is. It's Premier Home Cotton. And I picked up gray and white. And the cool thing about Premier, some of their colors are kind of, they look like they're painted on, and you get half the white and then half the color, and it knits up beautifully. That was my leftover ball because I already knit the dishcloths with it. I got 2, I didn't weave in the ends yet, but I did get 2 of the diamond dishcloths, the Super Simple Diamond Dishcloth by Louise Patterson. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. So they look very similar. Actually, yeah, they started in basically the same spot of the colorway. And I got done, I had temporarily lost the ball band. And when I found it again, I got looking because I wanted to compare it to the other cotton yarn that I picked up from the Dollar General a while ago. This was $2.99 for 96 yards. But then I noticed it was 85% cotton and 15% polyester. My husband said, yeah, so? And I said, polyester isn't great for absorbing water. And he just rolls his eyes and he's like, whatever. But I did get 2 dishcloths out of here. Now, what I can say about this cotton, it's very splitty, meaning the plies come apart and you have to be careful So when you're making your stitches, you pick up all the plies and don't leave some behind. It's kind of, it's not, excuse me, not soft, but it does glide across on the needles. I'm using, these are the needles I'm using. Just good old fashioned aluminum straight needles. And it does glide on the needles really well. So that's something. If it's too slippery for you, then you could use bamboo and it would help add a little bit of friction. So it was nice. It was easy to work with except for the splitting. So then I went upstairs and got the yarn from the Dollar General, which is called Crafter's Closet by Art Skills. Now what I noticed was this cotton yarn was a lot rougher, where the plies are twisted a lot tighter and it didn't split. It's a lot rougher. And what I found, even on my aluminum needles, there was a lot of friction and some of my stitches got a little bit tight, but it didn't split. And this is, let's see, 100% cotton versus 85-15 polyester. And it is 102 yards. So it's only 6 yards more, and I got this ball left over. So kind of the same size. This one could be wound tighter than this one. I don't know. I didn't weigh anything out yet. I'm going to do that when I'm all done. So I bought 3 balls of this, and I have 3 dishcloths completed, and I will get at least 3 more. I might be able to get a scrappy one where I can take the leftovers of the 3 balls and knit it into one. I will keep that one and not give it as a gift. I do like the way that the colors knit up. Sometimes you have kind of a color pooling patch and then you get stripes and the rest of it. And, you know, each one is going to be a little bit different just based on where you start on the color variegation or color sequence is what I'm trying to say. So then after I got the 3rd one done, I ran up and I got the Coastal Cotton, Queensland Collection, Coastal Cotton that I got from the Yarn Crawl last weekend. This is 100% cotton, and there's 185 yards in this skein ball. I don't know what it's called. Skein, I guess it would be. I don't know. And it's 100% cotton. So it's shaped differently. It's wound so tightly you can't do a center pull, which is a little bit of it's kind of annoying, but I just put it in my bag and then just pull on it and it's fine. This morning, I was able to finish one and start another one. I did this one by, and we even went to church, but on the drive to church, and then I rode with my husband for bus ministry. I got this done by 9:20 this morning. And then I started this one before we got to church as well. So what I find is this cotton yarn feels like regular yarn. The twist is great. It's not splitty. It's soft and it glides perfectly. And I don't think it glides too much, but there's not too much friction at the same time. It's perfect. It's perfect. Now, I kind of did some rough math, and I think that I might be able to get 4 of these dishcloths out of this one ball. If that's the case, this would be, just for yardage wise, would be the best value. I don't know what the regular price on this was, but I think because I got a discount, I think I paid $3.24 for this, and because it was on sale during the yarn crawl. But if I can get 4 dishcloths out of this is going to be the best value out of all 3 that I got. The stuff from the dollar store was $2, and I was able to get 2 out of each ball. But if it's, we don't know what it's going to happen when it gets wet, right? We don't know. Someone had asked, let me know if it gets slimy and stinky. Like, let me know. The polyester blend I don't think is going to be great for dishcloths. It might be great for, like, now, don't be mad, but it might be great for like a tank top or something. You would need quite a few balls because there's only 96 yards. But it might be just because of the blend. If I had realized it had polyester in it, I would have bought something else. So I'm thinking that this is going to be the best value. I've never worked with this, but the owner of the shop that I got this from said that her customers love this cotton. So I'm really curious to see how many I can get and what happens when it gets wet and you use it for dishes. I always try to rinse my washcloths out really well when I'm done with my dishes, so that way they don't get stinky, but you know it always happens, right? Even the dishcloths that you can buy from the store, it always happens. Sometimes, you know, not all the time, but sometimes they'll get stinky. So I'm going to continue knitting the dishcloths until I get this done, and this was my thinking. I had plans to make dishcloths for my coworkers for Christmas, but we all know how that happens. We're then, even though we know that when Christmas is every single year, we run out of time because we always think, oh, we got more time, we got more time, we got more time. And then it's like December 1st and you're trying to crank out tons of dishcloths in just a short time, because in my field, we have a shortened time before Christmas because the school shuts down. Well, at my current office, we do work through Christmas break. We just have those key dates off. But a lot of people will use vacation, so I need to get it done before everyone's last day before winter break starts. So my plan is to knit up the rest of this cotton yarn. I have 3 more dishcloths, maybe 4 to get out of the dollar store kind, and then I have 3 more to get out of this. I want to try to get 4 of these out of this because then I'm going to keep one for myself and use it really quickly to see what happens. And then if it's great, then I'll have my sister pick me up some more. I got this coastal cotton from Tawas Bay Yarn Company. Or is it called Tawas Yarn Company? But anyway, it's in Tawas. Google it, you'll find it. And I'll tell you next time. You can always check the link that I posted last week in the bonus cut for the middle of the mitten yarn crawl. The link there, she is on there. So I'm thinking, I don't know what I think about this, the dollar store kind. I don't know. I haven't been back to see if they have any more, so I'm gonna have to check, because if it's good and it's not gross after you use it, then just because it's $2, it might be a better value. But I'm liking the feel of the coastal cotton better. So once I get all of the dishcloth, I'm still going to cross stitch each week. I'm going to continue working on the bee, just because that's something that I can take to work or work on in the morning or whatever. And there's not a lot of thought to it, because right now after the patriotic stitching, I need to just calm down for a minute. So I will finish the dishcloths. I do need more cotton because I have a lot of coworkers and I don't know if everyone will want one, so I need to make a lot. And then I'm going to start the baby sweater. I don't know if I told you about the baby sweater, so forgive me if I've already told you about this. But last year when I made the dinosaur Christmas sweater, the one with all the dinosaurs shaped in the, put in the shape of a Christmas tree with a star on top, and it was red with green and white corrugated ribbing for all the cuffs and the hem. That family is expecting another baby in December, and I think I need to make baby a sweater, which it won't take me that long. For the newborn size or the 0 to 3 month size, it's not going to take me that long at all, but I figured I would get these out of the way and then start that one. I have all the yarn already left over from Big Brother's sweater, so I will make that after this. And then after this, I think we're going to see a lot more knitting for a while, just because I have things that I want to accomplish. So then I'm going to pull out one of my sweaters that is like 75% done, and it's called the Big Comfy Sweater. I think that's what it's called. It's a free pattern from Yarnspirations, I think. And I have back panel done and the front panel 3/4 of the way done. So overall, the project is really close, right? So one of the reasons why I put it off for a long time is I pulled the needle tips off because I needed them for another project. And in that particular needle set, it was before I got my nice chiagu from my family for Christmas. It was a size 10 or a 10.5. And I knew that they were a shade of blue. Problem is the size 10 and 10.5 in that set are both blue, just different shades, and I couldn't remember. The other day I looked up my Ravelry to see if I put in the size needles that I used, and sure enough, I did. I'm using size 10. So I just need to put the needle tips back on and get working on that. But I want to have these two things ready for Christmas, the dishcloth and the baby sweater, and then I'm going to finish that sweater for myself. And then I'm going to finish the flag scarf because it's really not going to take that much more effort to get that done. With all the amount of knitting that I've done on these dishcloths, I might be able to finish that scarf. And I don't really need that scarf, but it'll be an item off of my needles and will lessen the burden of whips. I don't really mind the cross stitch whips as much because I'll get to them when I get to them, but for some reason having the knitting whips is really getting to me right now, and I feel like I want to finish. So dishcloths, baby sweater, big comfy sweater, flag scarf. Then once I get all of those done, I'll feel a lot better. I have another sweater up there. I cannot remember the name, but it was a couple years ago. Marley Bird was doing a knit along for 2 different sweaters. One was called Nordic, and I can't remember the one that I chose. And it was about teaching you how to do stranded color work so that way you can go out and do other things. Well, I was just about to bind off, I think. I got all the way to the last step, and I put it on to see how it fit in the neck. And it was supposed to be like a little slouchy neck, not too fitted or anything. It was supposed to come up and be a little slouchy. And I knew that from the picture, but it was awful. I almost cried. I may have got a little teary actually because it was awful. And I followed the patterns and my gauge was on and everything. Well, I went into the group to see how everybody else was doing, and there was a number of people that were complaining about the same issue. And another lady said, this is how I fixed it. I did this, this, and this. I screenshot her directions, and I just need to go back and fix it. So yes, it's going to take me just a little bit of time because I need to pick up my stitches, rip back, and do her suggestions on how to fix it or how to end it and not have it be awful. I don't really understand how all of ours was different than the pattern, but something was missing or something got missed in the tech editing of the pattern or something. But I'm going to be able to salvage it, and I want to because I spent quite a bit of money on the yarn. And then that will be done. And really the ultimate goal here is because of the yarn crawl, I now have 4 sweater quantities up there that in my craft space in the spare room, whatever you want to call it, that need to be done. And I can't justify starting another sweater when I have several others that are languishing up there that are near completion. I do have another one called Zipline by Marie Green from Olive Knits. I don't know if I talked to you about that one before. I did the ribbing and something was wrong, so I needed to redo the ribbing, and I redid the ribbing and then got started on the pattern, and my yarn overs are all weird. And I talked to Kristen at the little yarn shop at the SVRC Marketplace about that, and she gave me confirmation of what I was thinking. So I'm going to rip back to the end of the ribbing and then start the pattern over. And hopefully I'm going to put in a lifeline, so hopefully if for some reason I don't like the ribbing or the pattern, a second time, then I'll be able to rip back to the lifeline, and I'll just knit it flat. I'll just knit it with no pattern because the yarn is up there being wasted, and I will either come back to the zip line at a different time or just call it a day on that pattern. I think I can make it work. I've done her foxtrot cardigan and I love it, so I think I can make that work. So anyways, I'm rambling on a lot about all of my future knitting just because I want to get my whips off, but it's going to also give you guys a chance to see some of my whip pile and cheer me on as I work toward completion of all of these projects, because I really do want to get them done, and I've been focusing more on cross stitch lately, which is fine, but I want to get some of my other projects done. And that I do have a temperature blanket that I was crocheting for 2019, and that's been kind of weighing on my mind a little bit too. That I'm not quite 50% done with it. I think I have about 200 more I'm doing diamonds. I have about 200 more to make before I'm done. And there's no reason why I can't just pick a month and say, okay, I'm going to make 1 or 2 a day, 1 or 2 a day. And that would be about 60. And I don't have to do them all at once. I could do 1 month here and then 1 month there, and I could get that blanket done. And I think that 2019 was a really interesting weather year for us here in my town, and I really want to get that done too. So working toward getting my knitting projects done, then maybe that will give me motivation to get back to that as well. But thank you so much for listening to me ramble about my projects this week. I know we're in a different spot, but I just could not stomach going upstairs into that hot room to meet with you in my usual space. So I hope that the lighting was okay, and I hope that you don't mind so much. And until next week, I hope that you saw or heard something to inspire you to pick up a languishing whip or maybe to try something new. And until next Sunday, bye.